Greetings, Stage of Bliss, here to talk about ORMUS, gold, consciousness elements. So, if you've never heard of ORMUS, it's generally, it's an abbreviation. It's orbitably rearranged molecules of unusual size, also called ORMS, and it is pre-metal, monatomic elements, pre-gold, pre-platinum, pre-metals, that in that state, it's like before they change into that thing, they are the potential energy. They are the energy of moving towards. So when we consume ORMUS, and it is in high quantity in things like superfoods, and really good soil, and really good spring water. So when you eat that, then your tissues, your body tissues, receive the nourishment for consciousness that allows us to go to the next level, to also transform into the next thing. So when they enter our bodies, then they are propelling our consciousness forward. So you can find it in various forms. For a long time I was using a powder form. Right now I've got a liquid in a honey. It's called ambrosia. For a while I was using Harmonic Enterprises monatomic elements, and they have a powder. It looks kind of like ceramic dust, which is also correct. I've done a lot of research on this and found that that is very likely what was happening in the biblical story of the gathering of the golden idols and burning them in the incinerators, and they would incinerate the gold at high temperatures to get this powder back to this form of powder, and is a type of consciousness food that would allow one to wake up to a deeper reality. And in my opinion, that's the whole Bible story, is waking up to our consciousness within. So there's all these metaphorical stories, and possibly they're real life, but they're definitely telling a tale, and I could go a long ways into that story, but I'm going to stick with the ORMUS stuff for now. This solidified stone, that is the monatomic element, also is found in veins where they find gold, and it is deemed Andara crystal glass, is how they call it. It comes in various colors. I have a couple of colors. I don't know where my other one went. Anyway, it looks just like glass. And some people might say that's just glass, and it's a farce and all that. But a science person, a scientist with the right microscope, can look into this and can recognize that it's bringing you to 0 point. And it's actually baffled scientists that looking into this would bring 0 point frequency in. And, there's something to the resonance of gold. The resonance of gold around our consciousness and in our body vessel definitely allows us to access other levels of our consciousness. So the scientists would describe the molecules here in Andara crystal glass as 3 in one dimension and 1 in another dimension. So you've got the stone able to access this interdimensional space, which for a moment, just for fun, let's say the dimensions are like time, okay, moments of time, linear time stretched out. And 0 frequency is in the no time zone. It's not future and it's not past, it's exactly in the present moment. So when you think about it for healing, we manifest on the dimension of third dimensional reality. We manifest in our bodies an ailment or a symptom of some kind, but it's also rooted in other dimensions of our consciousness, in our emotional body, in our mental body. We might have a belief system that got passed down to us through generations, and it's now come to such a point where it's been repeated that it's manifesting itself on the physical. Or there might be a trauma that we've experienced, and it also is now manifest on plane. So the goal of using or Andara crystal glass, or the other form of this I have is an am wand. Where'd that go? Carry this around with me. And it's a patented product, but I'm pretty sure there's this Andara crystal glass or some form of the ORMUS in these wands. Someone's trying to call me. Go ahead and deny that. But anyway, so the goal of this is you rotate it clockwise for 5 minutes in someone's field and you generate a 0-point field, which is a healing field, right? It's a field through which that person can access all dimensions of their consciousness and bring forth and emanate health. So that's the goal of taking ORMUS drops, is to allow you to access all layers of yourself, all layers of your consciousness, so that you're not running off of old patterns, so that you're not running off of, subconscious mind tapes, you're not running off of societal suggestions and so forth. You're accessing your pure consciousness. So ORMUS in liquid, if you can't get that, this is probably your most inexpensive way of accessing the 0-point field with a tool. They find these just at the Mount Shasta area. So Mount Shasta, you can get online and you can find various different stones. Of course, you're going to find all the write-ups saying what a hoax it is and everything. But, you do the research. You get a piece for fairly inexpensive and you sit with it and you do a meditation with it. You see what happens in your life. So let's explain a little bit about what happens when you start working with a 0-point technology. Is that what I'm just going to call it? A 0-point field. So in 0-point, we are basically collapsing multi-dimensions of possibilities, right? Of all these different other possibilities that might be, something where an accident would happen, or whatever you want to call it, where you're accessing the here and now fully. That might be a bad example, because I'm also thinking sometimes an accident is the very thing that's going to have to happen for you to unwind, if you will, from a pattern or story that you've been working out. So it's not that it's like a good luck charm and it's preventing you from having anything happen. No, it's actually just helping you access more quickly the place where your stuff gets worked out and you're now accessing pure potentiality in the present moment, which is also your Kundalini energy activated and through your body at a rate that equals your ability to keep up with it. So I like the AM1 because if there's an injury, it can accelerate healing. Okay, so if someone gets injured, you can start like AM1ing them for clockwise direction for 5 to 10 minutes anywhere in their body or in a specific location, and that helps to bring 0 to that location so that thing can shift. But remember, there's also the aspect of that shift that involves the emotions and it involves the mental field. And so there may need to be some adjustments for that field to correct itself. So just like any consciousness supporting product, which I'm going to do some other videos, some other ones, but this one's specifically on ORMUS. So anytime you're wanting to support your consciousness, you're also supporting change. You're supporting getting out of old patterns. So sometimes the road to getting out of those patterns is that you have to unkink those knots. So you might have to have a similar situation come up where you then act differently in it, and you'll realize your consciousness has been elevated and you're now seeing it from a totally different perspective. Hence now you can see why the ORMUS works. So it's not like preventing things from happening, it's actually attracting to you the very field where you are the still point, where you are the 0. And in this case, the 0 is good. Like the 0 is where you've nulled out negative programs or other people's opinions or conditioning or any sort of nanotechnology or anything that would impede accessing true life force potential, true present moment awareness and healing. All that gets zeroed out so that you are coming from pure flow. But on the way to zeroing it out, just like a detoxification in a way. Okay, and I've said oftentimes in some of my videos that just got a really funny text right now. That sorry, I just have to laugh. As we're waking up, as we go through a Kundalini awakening, that and this totally is not a laughing matter, but I'm still smiling from that text. That we have to detox emotional beliefs. We have to detox things from our consciousness that are not serving the new reality coming in. So when we use a consciousness supporting element or food or tool, then we have to know we're also accepting the detoxification process of those particular beliefs and their side effects, which is how you've been living and receiving in the world. So I've been using ORMUS for many years. For a while it was staunch daily, multi-daily consumer. I've carried this AM wand around with me for years and years and years. Ran into them at some kind of a bizarre thing with tables and such back when I was doing chocolate. And this is Merkaba ORMUS Elixir, and I think that's the .com too, but I'm not sure that this alchemist is still up and running. He was my main alchemist for a while. But if you're interested, send me a message and I can also hook you up with other people I know that make outstanding ORMUS products. And like I said, you can find Andara crystal glass a shop like Mount Shasta store, the IM store, or something like that. They should have some. Or just online. But make sure you have a good source and not someone that's actually blowing glass, because I think there are some deceivers out there. But this came right from the Mount Shasta area. And again, you're going to have different effects from using the different forms, but I highly recommend using ORMUS products for your consciousness. Okay, that is all for this episode. Tools for Consciousness. Talk to you next time.